I have one for spring 2018 too. I'm very open to answering questions and giving you all the information that you need to know, right? Because I want this process and this journey to be as accessible as possible for everybody that's out there that's a Black girl trying to go to Howard, trying to study school psychology. My second semester at Howard was spring 2018, and during that semester, again, we took 5 courses. Those 5 courses were Practicum in School Psychology, the assessment portion, Cognitive Abilities Part 2, Culturally Competent Assessment, Group Counseling, Professional, Ethical, and Legal Issues in Clinical Practice, and Intermediate Stats. So again, 5 courses to be able to finish in 3 years. You take Practicum 3 semesters out of the 4 that you're in class. So this very first go around with Practicum is the assessment segment. So in this course, we're learning about really, again, those classifications in IDEA, but also going deeper and learning about each one specifically and learning how to assess for it, learning the diagnostic criteria and all of those things so that you then are a better practitioner, right? Also in that class, that's when you will start Practicum, right? So that's when you'll start actually going into a school and working with students. So for Practicum, you'll go to the school that your supervisor works at for either 1 or 2 days a week. So I was there 2 days a week because I worked part-time, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. But I went to Practicum 2 days a week because I worked part-time. So I worked 3 days a week, did 2 days at Practicum, and had 5 classes throughout the week. Very busy, but like I said before, time management. Learning how to manage your time will really help you throughout grad school. My very first Practicum experience was at Ron Brown College Preparatory High School in Washington, D.C. And that was hands down one of my favorite experiences at Howard. When I started at the high school, I was working with my supervisor, and I really just began by touring, so seeing the school, being able to meet the students. But then he really just pushed me into working. So at that school, they are focused on a restorative justice style of school psychology practice and counseling. And they held community circles that had the 9th and 10th graders come together in morning assemblies. We had restorative justice circles with students, or if they got into an altercation with a teacher, another student, we had circles like that. Did individual counseling. I was able to get some testing done there. I was able to sit in different types of meetings, so like a manifestation determination meeting, which will be something you learn more about along the way if this is something you're interested in studying. But I was definitely able to get a very diverse and really immersive experience during my first semester of Practicum. So my supervisor, I would say, worked me like I was an intern. And I think that was my experience during my whole time during Practicum, but it made me a better practitioner because of it. So very grateful for my time with those students at Ron Brown. Really loved that Practicum experience. It gave me my very first glimpse of what the field really looks like. And again, it was at a high school, and important to realize that as school psychologists, we do work with a very vast range of age groups. Then other than being at an actual Practicum, the only assignment that you have for that class really is a case study at the end of the semester where you are talking about how you assess the student. So really easy work. In Cognitive Abilities 2, Culturally Competent Assessment, in that class you are learning about how to give assessments to culturally and linguistically diverse students. So those will be your Black students, your Latinx students, students that are coming from another country, so your ELL students. Those will be your students that are deaf or hard of hearing. I'm really thinking about your students that are not white, right? All of the students that are not white would be considered culturally and linguistically diverse students. So in this course, we learned about the assessments that would be better suited for CLD students. So that looks like the Kaufman Assessment Battery for Children, 2nd edition, or the UNIT, which is a test of nonverbal cognitive ability, right? So very cool stuff that you're learning. And again, you have to administer these to a classmate and then find a student to be able to administer so that you're really honing in on and getting better at your skills. In group counseling, that class was about what the title is, group counseling. So really learning about the different modalities of therapy and counseling, and basically trying to see which modality fit better with your style of work, right? So learning about cognitive behavioral therapy or just behavioral therapy, and really defining and deciding which one would work better for you. So in that class, the major assignment was to be able to run a group. So you and a partner had to pick a topic and then run a session, and what a group counseling session would look like with that topic. So fairly easy stuff again. And then we also had to go out into the community and find group counseling sessions. So my friends and I, we went and found like an Overeaters Anonymous counseling group. I went on Match.com, Meetup.com, and met with this Christian group that was meeting, because that is a form of group counseling. So really getting creative with group counseling, and this class really gets you to understand like how you can be creative in your own practice, because again, when you're in a school, there will be opportunities for you to counsel with students in groups and individually. So really great class, really loved it, really learned a lot from that class. In our ethics class, probably one of I hated that class, y'all, but really important, and I realize now, even back then, about why ethics and those legal issues are important, because you can get yourself caught up. You can get yourself caught up really easy. So it's very important that you are taught about what ethics look like, what legal issues look like, how something as simple as boundaries, right? And not having boundaries with your clients can get you caught up. So very informative class, and grateful to have had it, because as a school psychologist, it is your role to really uphold the legalities of IDEA. So it's like IEPs are legally binding contracts, really. So as a school psychologist, those are things that you need to know. And in that class, we just did a few presentations, quizzes, and that kind of thing. It really wasn't hard work. And then finally, the 5th class of semester 2, intermediate stats, baby, statistics. When I tell y'all, that class almost took me out. Like, I ain't no stress in my life until I took stats at Howard University. You may be wondering, just like I was, why? Like, why do I need to take this? And the answer is that school psychology is a data-driven field, right? So everything that we do in the field is based on data. It's based on numbers, it's based on charts and graphs, and really being able to understand that. So how else do you understand that than by taking statistics? You can't. So you have to do it. You cannot get through without taking statistics. And while it was hard, that was probably one of the hardest classes. Like, when I told y'all it wasn't hard, but that class was hard. Statistics, and that could be personal, right? Just because I struggle with stats does not by any means necessary mean that you are going to struggle with stats. Matter of fact, I ask Jesus Christ right now, Lord, that you will cover them when they take the statistics class. Amen? Amen. Because he got you, because I don't. I was able to make it out, though, so that says a lot. Like, if I was able to make it out, you gonna do it too. And I just pray for you, so God got you. Amen. Otherwise, yeah, that class is necessary, because you're gonna be scrubbing through data when you're at work. So you're gonna need to know how to do that, and how to do that appropriately, effectively, to serve your students. So while it was a struggle, we had quizzes, we had tests, and we had this major project that we had to do again, a group project. It was hard, but we were able to do it. I ended the class with a really great grade. So again, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Like, there's nothing there for you to worry about. During my time at Howard, I did get a job, right? So I started working that December of 2017, and then like I said to y'all, I was working 3 days a week and going to Practicum 2 days a week. So I really had to learn how to manage my time. I really had to learn how to be an adult and figure it out. But majority of the classes are at night. They were about 5:10 to 7:30, and maybe one 7:40 to 10 class. But overall, you can work. It is possible. But if you're looking to be done in that 3 years, it's definitely a full-time commitment of 3 years so that you can just get it done. And like I said, me and my friends in my cohort, we did work part-time, but again, ensuring that school is the priority. Like, so for me, school was definitely priority, and my job knew that, so that was a benefit for me. But if you are planning to work, again, realize and remember that it is a lot of work, but if you manage your time effectively, you can still go to homecoming, you can still go out on the weekend, you can still have fun, you can still travel and visit your friends and live a good life, just like I did. Ultimately, if I had to leave you all with anything, right, about my first year at Howard, it would be that I learned that Howard University was the right place for me. It would be that I learned that school psychology was the right field for me. I learned that I was capable of excelling in the work, right? So it seemed daunting at first because it's new, it's grad school, but I ended my first semester with a 4.0. Praise be to Jesus. But if I was able to do it, I'm more than positive that you will be able to do it too. And just because you're here looking for more information lets me know that you already have what it takes. So take it easy. Don't be hard on yourself. You'll be able to do it. It's not hard stuff at all. And you have a cohort behind you to help you. In next week's episode, we will be discussing all things year 2. What was that second year of graduate school like at what? The Howard University. I'll be letting you all know, maybe giving y'all a little bit more information about how I was living my life, because during year 2, I definitely kicked it up with all of the traveling that I was doing. So I'm gonna give y'all all of that information, dropping all the deets, spilling all the tea. Y'all know how that go. So I hope, since you've made it all the way here, that you have already done what? Liked, commented, and subscribed. Here's your chance. Do it now. Thank you all for sitting with me. I'll see you next week.